Hey, what's cracking, peeps? This is Beast bringing you a couple of great races today. Great races. These are in the early prototype race car division in the career. And this car, this Porsche, it's an AG Porsche 962. This thing is absolutely incredible. Hold on, I'll give you a taster of it. This thing rocks, dude. I've driven this in a previous video on the Nürburgring, and I ended up getting a clean time on the 4th lap, and I ended up just destroying on the leaderboards. I didn't really drive it other than that, and this thing is sick, dude. It's so insane. So it's from this period in the 80s where they had these prototype race cars, but they were virtually unlimited specs, so there really were no limits as to what you could do. That was a sick pass on that guy right there, right? Went a little too deep in that corner, though, because I passed him like that. But this was the first race I drove it outside of the Nürburgring, so this was the first race in this career thing. So basically what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to unlock the Aston Martin Vulcan, and in order to do that, I have to unlock a certain showcase event. So I'm just trying to progress a little bit through the career. And obviously I'm trying to earn some money too, so I can buy myself a better hypercar, which I did actually end up getting enough to do that, but I haven't decided yet what I'm going to get, because I don't have access to the Zonda Cinque, which is a Zonda C. That was a specialty dealer, and I didn't have enough money to buy it when it came out, and that was a good pass too, right? So, yeah, so I'm just driving this thing through the career. I did one other series. I finished up a series with the NASCAR, which I had started, but I hadn't finished. So, guys, on a lot of these classes, sometimes when I was racing in, like, say, the GT classes, I was a little sketchy right there. So I have these Drivatars at 80%, I believe, which is the second highest setting. These might be at 60. This might have been the race where I turned them up after this. But this car is so sick. So I race through the NASCAR series. So most of these races I do, especially in like the GT endurance type class and stuff, a lot of the tracks, when I look at the America's leaderboards, there might only be a few thousand people that have raced that track. Meaning, you know, only a few thousand people have raced that track variant with, man. See, like, I'm already figuring this thing out. Like, the amount of, not there, but the amount of, like, the closeness, which how close I'm coming to all these walls. I mean, look at this one. I mean, that's just ridiculous. And same thing here. Finally kind of figured that one out. So yeah, so I mean, this thing is ridiculous. Woo-hoo-hoo! Most of the tracks only have a couple thousand people in the Americas. Some of them have like 1,100. Some of them have less than that. Some of them in like the X class, if I race them, with like the Renault RS17. Some of them have like 600 people or 150 people that have raced on the track. So when I was going through this surprised me a lot. Now, you know, NASCAR here in the United States, I'd say NASCAR is fairly popular. For a while, it was one of the fastest growing sports in the United States. I personally don't watch it. I think it's awesome, and I've seen, you know, the way they present it now is really good. Like, you get lots of onboard cameras and stuff, and it's kind of hard to get a feel for that unless you're in an onboard camera, because these guys are going so fast, and you can hear the audio from in there. How the car is just like an empty box, basically, just extremely loud, and everything reverberates inside. But these guys are going, you know, wheel to wheel, like 200 miles an hour through these bank turns, and sometimes they're banked at, you know, 35 degrees, which is like, you know, incredible bank. So, anyway, when I was doing the NASCAR series, the tracks I was racing had 60, 70, 80,000. One of them had 125,000 people had raced on that track, and I was just like, what? Like, you'll see when I get done with this race, and look how close again I came to that wall. And again there, inside rumble and outside rumble. So, the NASCAR series apparently was incredibly popular in the Americas, which, I mean, we're talking 10 times as popular as most of the other tracks that I raced, which was really surprising to me. So yeah, that was interesting. But I finished up that series, and I wanted to unlock the next one, so I was like, you know what, I'm going to race this early prototype series. This looks sick. So the description for this early prototype series says these cars in the 80s basically had almost no restrictions. So I've talked before on the channel about how F1 cars have incredible restrictions on them. And basically what it is, it's a game of one-upsmanship where the FIA, the body that governs F1, comes up with new rules to say you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do that. And the engineers of the teams, who have, you know, many millions of dollars invested in these teams every single year, you know, tens of millions of dollars, maybe even $100 million invested in these teams, come up with ways to circumvent these rules and to push these rules to their breaking point. And so every few years, the rules change pretty drastically. Not all at once, but I'm saying, you know, year by year, they add different stuff and change everything. So I'll show you how many people have raced this track in this setting. So in this one, only 12,700, which actually is among the highest I've seen. And that wasn't the greatest time. You know, I'm still getting used to the car, but 58th, you know, in the Americas, I'll take that. And this is a non-competitive car in this class, as much as I love it. So that's one of the things. So this is something a little bit more fun. I'm just bringing you some Crown Victoria bowling, this is what every police car ever was from about 1990, 1992, all the way to about 2005, 2007, somewhere in there. And they started using like Dodge Chargers, Dodge Challengers and stuff. So, you know, different stuff too, like Ford Tauruses and just different like four-door, you know, sedans. But this was the one for a while. So, but this Porsche 962 though, dude, it's so epic. The speed that it has and the unimaginable, just ridiculous power, like the animalistic power that this thing has, it just throws you back in the seat. I mean, like, we're talking in GT race cars, I'm hitting like in the 180s, 190s on Bathurst on that back straight, and in this car, I'm hitting 225. Like, this thing just rips, dude. It flies so hard. And so what the description says, in the 80s, these early race cars had virtually no restrictions. Well, hold on, backtrack slightly to the FIA thing. So the reason they do this with the rules is they do these slight changes every year or every 2 years that change the rules. So every couple of years, there's really almost not a whole new set of rules, but the games sort of change. And the reason for that is because there's all these tracks that are, you know, permanent tracks around the world, and if they didn't check these guys, then these cars would be making these 6-cylinder turbos that are 1.8 liters would be making 2,000 horsepower, and these guys would be going 300, you know, or more on the straights. And, you know, it's just incredibly unsafe, and it basically ruins the racing, is to you know, let everybody have unlimited power, basically. Because, you know, you might have some cars with 2,000 horsepower and some cars with, you know, 1,200, which is really not fair at all. So, these early prototype race cars that I'm racing, again, this is just a little break, just something fun that I thought you guys might enjoy. I hate these car bowling ones, actually, but this one I got on the first try. And, I mean, I had the drive tour set pretty high, actually, so I didn't have to turn it down or anything, but... so these early endurance cars, or these early prototype cars say, the description says something like, you know, these early prototype cars in the 80s had virtually no rules, leading to almost unlimited power, cars inches from the ground, and drivers, incredibly unsafe conditions, and drivers going 200 miles an hour, just inches from each other. So basically, just having these incredible, like, and I mean, you watch the, again, I'll just leave this to be, so check out how much power this car has right off the bat. So those are with the Drivatars on 80% on Pro. So normally, it takes me a couple laps to catch up and pass the Drivatars. I blew past everybody except for one guy on turn 1. And this was, the reason I put this race in there, because this is one of the most epic comebacks I've ever had in this game. And so I'm in 11th place now. And again, these are with the Drivatars on 80%, which normally if I'm not in, you know, 4th or 3rd place by the time I'm halfway through the race, it's going to be a tough one to finish in first. And so I'm in 11th place. Now I'm in 10th place. And look at this guy. This is what happens when the Drivatars are this high. I have the aggression turned off so they can't, like, smash into me and stuff. They still do, but, I mean, these Drivatars are, like, real aggressive, you know? Like, look at that. He's just, you know, clipping into me and stuff. So, but this one, I mean, that was a massive crash I had on turn 2, and I end up coming all the way back to win it. But this car just has absolutely mean power. like, incredible power. I mean, just, like, from driving all these lower level cars, I mean, I drive a bunch of lower level cars, or even driving the GT cars, I mean, even driving the F1 car, this thing has so much more speed at a certain point than the Renault has, and this thing is just, and it's such a different sensation of speed, too, because it's not, like, you know, it doesn't have all this incredibly sophisticated aero. I mean, as you look at the car, it's obviously aerodynamic, and it obviously has a ton of downforce and stuff, but compared to what an F1 car has, it's not even close. It's probably half or less. And so this thing is just really, like, I was just going with it. I was just planting the gas all the way down and just flooring it and just going with it, just going balls to the wall. And, I mean, it's ridiculous. It's such an incredibly ridiculous car. I mean, you can see I'm pretty much all over the place here with it, because this is a track I'm not that familiar with. I guess this is the one from the demo where you race with the Porsche, the GT2 RS, but I haven't been familiar with this track, so it's sick to drive on, and as you see, I'll come flying up here, and I just changed the game completely. And this thing is just mean. It's so mean. It's unbelievable. So I actually just did a race. I'm not sure if I want to put it up or not. But it was a race I did on Spa, and I had one of those mods where you can get extra credits, and the mod was for driving at night, and I hate driving at night, so when I was coming up with this, I was like, I was doing this championship, and I was like, alright, I was like, please be a fun, a fun track coming up. That was not an advised pass. But I was just getting hyper-aggressive, because I wanted to finish in first, I didn't want to have to redo the race. So, I was like, please be a good track, and it came with Spa, and I was like, bruh, I am doing this. So I drive tires, turned them up to, I think, so drive tires run 80, and I put on a couple of mods, and I decided, like, okay, maybe I'll do a long race, which was 7 laps instead of 3, and then I was like, you know, maybe I'll do an extra long, but that was 20 laps, and I was like, you know, I don't know if I really want to do 20 laps, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to do it, so I went for 20 laps, and I bumped the drive tires up to unbeatable, and I put them on, and started the race, and I actually took off, and I was actually able to pass him within the first half a lap, so I quit the race, restarted it with the driver tires at 100%, which is unbeatable, which I haven't attempted so far. I did that, and then I did all the mods that I could for my highest credit payout, so I ended up getting 180% of my credit payout, and I did the extra long race, which was 20 laps, so it took me 45 minutes to do the race, and I raced 20 laps with all that stuff, and I ended up getting like 575,000 credits or something, which was basically the highest amount of credits I've earned in a race yet, and I was super pumped to do that. So I have that recorded, but I'm not really sure how I want to do that. Let's see, now I'm moved up to 3rd place, and that was a beautiful turn right there, man. That was a good pass right there too. I'm coming to this last guy. So anyway, this is the end of the race. So keep your eyes open for another video from me soon. I've been uploading every day. I'm going to continue that. I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you for checking this out. We just crossed 250 subscribers. I'm super happy with that. That's 400% of what I had earlier in the year when I started uploading again. So I really appreciate you guys making that possible and helping me reach that. So thank you guys for everything. Check you the next video. See you another time. Subscribe if you like my content. I probably already said that, but I forget these things sometimes. I have goldfish memory. So thank you guys. See you in the next one.